All week here on The Early Show, we're giving you tips on how to live a longer and healthier life. This morning, a look at why the mind and happiness are two very important ingredients to staying young. This weekend, the Shark was back, trying to win a major at 53. A stunning Christy Brinkley is still turning heads, and a bikini-clad Helen Mirren just hit the tabloids. Mick Jagger is still rocking. And so is Stevie Nicks.
The fact that I've been able to still be here after all this time, it blows my mind.
If today's 50 is the new 30, what are the secrets that are keeping people younger longer? The mind and happiness quotient is one big reason.
I read a lot, I watch a lot of movies, and, the internet.
Exercises that keep the mind active are just as important as aerobics.
I'll be 47 in a couple of months, and a lot of people think I'm in my 30s, mostly older 30s.
Unhappiness can take as many as 7 years away from your life, the same as smoking.
I'm a happy person. It's my job. I'm my own employer. I have to make sure I'm doing what makes me feel better.
Joining us now from Minneapolis is Dan Buettner, world traveler and author of Blue Zones, and Dr. Tom PERLS, director of New England's Centenarian study. Good morning to you both. Dan, let me start with you.
Good morning.
What is the secret to a long and happy life, at least what you've been able to discover as you've traveled around the world?
Well, we found 3 areas around the world, blue zones, where people live the longest, and then we found 3 other areas where we used a similar formula to find where people are happiest. And you see about 60% overlap. The same things that help people live to be a healthy age 90 also help them do so in a happy way. And we found 9 of them, but I'll tell you about 3 of them. First of all, people who have very strong circles of friends, trusting friends. And this is not to say 150 friends on Facebook, but friends
really good friends
who you can call up at the end of the day after a bad day and they'll care.
And
number 2, you find that religious people are happier than non-religious people, and they live longer. People who go to church or mosque or temple at least 4 times a month live about 7 years longer than those who don't.
Right.
And then meditation, interestingly. You can see right on MRI scans of people who meditate that the parts of their brain that register pleasantness and happiness are actually lit up. And the same is true with blue zones around the world. Longest lived people have some form of meditation in their everyday life.
Very interesting. Tom, how does this relate to brain activity? Because one of the things we're hearing more and more about is the busier your brain is, productively busy, the happier or the longer you might live.
That's right. So from our Centenarian study, people who live to 100, as long as they're cognitively intact, they virtually live forever. The brain is the most important thing at these extreme old ages. And they do give a history of being very socially active, socially engaged, and they will say that having a cause that gets them up in the morning is the most important thing. And what we've also learned from other studies is building your brain, which much like you bodybuild or you exercise different muscle parts.
Are there things we can do, though, as we move along in our lives to make sure, maybe as our work becomes less important, things to make our brains more active to keep us healthier longer? What, for instance?
Absolutely. Well, the most powerful things you can do to build your brain or increase its functional reserve so that if there's a problem later, it takes a lot more of that problem to cause difficulties with your brain.
Smart.
So learning a new language, a musical instrument, these are the most powerful things. Those are the real weights. But there's lots of things you can do. If we go onto EONS, there's a site that I help with, eons.com, that has these brain builders, lots of different tests you can do. They're fun puzzles. People compete with each other. There's social networking on the site. That's also very important, builds a safety net.
There you go, just like Dan was talking about.
Right.
All right, Tom, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Dan Buettner, thank you very much for your time this morning as well.
My pleasure.
I think the idea is when you retire, you better start taking piano lessons.